Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's December 7th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. We got Washington, Oregon over here. Check out the frontal system draped across the region. Much warmer air out in front of it. If you step outside across Seattle today, for example, you are into the 50s. It feels much different than it has for the last few days as we've been trapped in this inversion with the very cold air at the surface and multiple days of freezing fog and frost out there. But if you take a look behind it, we have cold air aloft now arriving. So we are going to flip the switch here and bring some cold air aloft and some snowfall to the higher terrain of the Cascades. And this includes Snoqualmie and Stevens Pass, White Pass, and down into some of the Cascades of Oregon as well. The snow levels will be a little bit higher the further south you go. But in the meantime, we are also getting freezing rain actively falling as we speak, and it is accumulating east of the mountains. So we'll take a look at that and on into the extended forecast as we do every single day with this channel. Taking a look at that frontal system. Look at this draped across Olympia, Tacoma, and as I'm doing this right now, it's going to be impacting the Seattle metro area. But look at some of these nice warm temperatures out there. I stepped outside this morning to let the dog out, and it was very nice feeling. You can see Ellensburg is right here. Freezing rain is occurring as we speak, as well as for Ephrata, and it is accumulating out there. So if we take a look, you can see the freezing rain at Ellensburg in the observation, and this number right there means the ice accumulation there during the last observation. So yeah, we are getting that sticking on things. Probably best not to travel if you can avoid it. This is Ephrata. Again, freezing rain has been showing up in the observations, and it is accumulating. This is the ice accretion. The I-1001 means 1/100 of an inch in the last observation. Now looking at Moses Lake, we also had some ice accretion here, but I didn't see any active precipitation that may have come from the fog, but it is below freezing out there and could be quite slick. Now one more look here at the satellite imagery here with that frontal system draped across southwest Washington down through northwest Oregon and just impacting the Seattle metro as I'm doing this video. Taking a look at the storm reports yesterday, we did have some gusty winds across some of the Rocky Mountains of Montana. We had a gust up towards 69 miles per hour. I believe that was, right there near St. Mary, Montana. But we don't have any reports out there right now. That may change as we go. I'm not sure if this will pick up some of the ice accretion out there or anybody reporting some of that freezing rain. But you can clearly see the frontal system there with some heavy rain packing a punch this morning across western Washington down through northwest Oregon. Now, Seattle National Weather Service is all over it. Snow in the forecast, and again, Saturday night through Sunday night, but most of this should be falling during the morning tomorrow morning. I-90, Highway 2, Highway 12, and this is going to include Snoqualmie Pass, higher amounts across Stevens Pass, lesser amounts as you go down in towards Oregon, and a bit higher on the snow levels as well. We'll take a look at those in a moment, and freezing rain all day today. This is for the Columbia Basin, and some of the passes may have trapped some of that cold air. I think we have been reporting some freezing rain at some of the pass areas, so you got to be watching out for that. And this is the winter storm warning. Starts 4 p.m. This afternoon. But again, there's some freezing rain ongoing, and they do mention it here. Stevens and Snoqualmie Pass are observing freezing rain early this morning. And as we go through tomorrow morning, 6 to 10 inches at Snoqualmie, higher amounts for Stevens. And you can see there could be some gusty winds out there also. Light wintry precipitation. We talked about this. Spokane. I've been mentioning this for a few days, the potential for it, and it is with us, and it is now accumulating on some surfaces out there. So be careful if you have to travel. Probability of freezing rain exists for Idaho Panhandle into Montana. Some of the valley areas, 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice could accumulate. Now, if we take a look at the North American model, we're going to do some the timing on this system. And as we go through the day today, you can kind of see that freezing rain, Idaho and Montana as well. Higher terrain, very high terrain snowfall as we go through the day today. But the snow levels are going to crash down. And I want to point out that that freezing rain or freezing drizzle or whatnot that falls across eastern Washington and some of eastern Oregon, maybe trapped in the valleys, is probably going to come to an end here as we go through the evening and the night tonight. And then we have the showery, cool weather. This is about midnight tonight here, and you can see that snow piling up across the Washington Cascades as we go through the day and the morning Sunday. Lesser amounts down towards Oregon, but you are going to get a few inches of snowfall down there as well. And then you see on the day Monday, that system is out of here, and we end up with a mostly dry day on Monday and probably Tuesday as well. But the storm train looks like it's going to be targeting us again. We'll check that out in the extended forecast in a moment. So if I take a look at the accumulated freezing rain, I'm just going to run through this here really quick, and you can see that accumulation of that ice out there. Things could get pretty treacherous, so heads up for that. I'm scrolling through a 60-hour time frame here. Again, should be wrapping up by tonight here for eastern Washington and portions of eastern Oregon, and then a later period here as we go on in through tomorrow for Idaho Panhandle and Montana. And I'll show you that here. The European also showing some of that freezing precipitation. You can kind of see it in the valley areas there. But by the time we get on in towards Sunday, that freezing rain is going to be completely gone, and by tonight it'll be largely completely gone. But you can see the colder air aloft arriving, the snow really piling up across the Washington Cascades, hitting the Blue Mountains, some of the Rocky Mountains as we go through the day Sunday fairly well. Then you can see some residual snow as we go through Monday, and then we get a dry day on Monday, probably Tuesday here, and then we wait for this next frontal system to roll in here. It could bring another round of rainfall and mountain snow. We'll see how that trends. Now, I wanted to point out some of the winds out there. I want to point out the westerly surge across the Strait of Juan de Fuca as we go through this afternoon. You can see it come down and clip Whidbey Island there, Port Angeles and whatnot, and that could generate a convergence zone. You can't rule out a lightning strike with that, but it shouldn't be too widespread. We're not looking at, widespread lightning activity with that, but you can't rule out a couple strikes. And then you can see as we go through this afternoon, you kick up the westerly winds on the east slopes of the Cascades, all the way up into British Columbia, eastern Washington, down through Oregon, and even across some of the Columbia Basin. We bring those westerlies back into the region here. Now, 700 millibars. This shows that very warm air aloft. That's what you feel out there this morning if you're west of the Cascades, especially up into the lower 50s. But look at the cold air aloft crashing things back down, and that's why the winter storm warnings and advisories are in effect for the Cascades. But again, kind of a quick hitting system here that slides off to the east pretty rapidly. And then we look out into the extended forecast a little bit here, and you can see the next frontal system trying to arrive probably on Wednesday or Thursday. Some of the models are in disagreement on the timing of that one, but more on that here in a moment. Here's 5,000 feet. Again, very warm air aloft at 5,000 feet all the way up into the Pacific Northwest. But look at that cold air just crashes back down as we go through tonight and in through tomorrow morning. I like to show these visual diagrams of what's going on above us. Now, this is total snow 10-to-1 ratio. This is the North American model here. So we're going to scroll through this afternoon, and you can see there is some snow flying for the higher terrain, but we really start piling it up as we go through tomorrow morning. Look at that Snoqualmie Pass is right there. Look at Stevens, showing quite a bit more snowfall there for Stevens Pass. Snoqualmie Pass, though, picking up, it shows a foot there on the North American model. We'll see how that trends, but lesser amounts across the Oregon Cascades, and then you can see the snow pick back up across the higher terrain, the Blue Mountains and some of the Rocky Mountains there as we go on in through the day tomorrow. Taking a look at Mount Baker, you can see the first round right here. Here's some nice amounts coming in there, probably up over a foot, and then the potential for something coming as we go through next week. This is Snoqualmie Pass as well. The initial system is right here as we go through Sunday morning, very late tonight and Sunday morning, and then the next system is off in towards next week. Here's Stevens Pass, a little bit more than Snoqualmie Pass probably coming than the next system, and there's Mount Hood, lesser amounts as you go across the Oregon Cascades. Now, total precipitation in inches, we do have some hydrologic concerns, because we are dealing with some of these heavier precipitation amounts out there. But in the grand scheme of things, this is not a big widespread flooding event. We have been dry for several days, so there could be some streams and creeks and rivers running a bit high for some select areas, but again, not a big flooding event. And then you can see the next system trying to knock on our door here. But you can see, we're picking up some pretty good amounts, and that frontal system this morning is packing a bit of a punch, as you saw on the Doppler radar. Now, taking a look here, the snow levels dropping rapidly behind the initial frontal passage here, going towards about 3,000 feet overnight. We're going to remain through Sunday. So the Avalanche Center does a pretty good job of pointing this out. You can see the snow level, and you can see the Olympics and some of the Cascades, Stevens, Snoqualmie Pass there, and Mount Hood at the very bottom. You can see, again, even Mount Hood getting down towards 3,000 feet as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. Now let's take a look at the extended forecast. So we got the artificial intelligence European model. This is actually, let me update this because that was last night. That was yesterday afternoon. This is last night right here. Again, here goes our fairly weak atmospheric river here, fairly progressive, but it's bringing that warm air in front of it. And then the cold air crashes back down for the showery day on Sunday. Showers wrap up by Sunday night, really Monday morning, some residual showers moving off. Get a fairly dry day here across much of the region on the day Monday and Tuesday. Then this next system starts knocking on our door, and the European artificial intelligence wants to bring this precipitation in a bit quicker than the deterministic of the European. And you can see a fairly robust frontal system here as we go through the day Wednesday, and then you can see additional frontal systems. And look at this storm the European wants to throw here at the Pacific Northwest. That'd be a fairly robust system here. In fact, that'd be a major windstorm for the Oregon coastline here. So we'll watch that one. It's a ways out there right now. And the models have been showing some deep lows approaching the region, but we don't have any kind of consistency in the models to start to get excited about that too much. And you can see additional low pressures and then potentially active weather as we go on in towards the mid and later portion of December. Who knows what's going to happen after that, but you can see the storm train remains fairly active. Now, I want to show this here for the European. This is the ensemble. So there's 50 of these. And let me back this all the way up here, because you can see as we go through the day tomorrow on Sunday, you see that deep low right here. And you notice all these 50 lines are in pretty good agreement because we're in the short range of the forecast here. We have a pretty good idea what's going to happen only, 36 hours out or so. But if we go off into the extended forecast, that's why they call it a spaghetti plot, because you can see these noodles, like somebody just threw a whole bunch of noodles on the page, or you got the spirograph out and you're just kind of zooming and zagging around here with your pen. Some of you guys may remember playing with that as a kid. That's what it kind of reminds me of. And then as we scroll off into the extended forecast, we can look at 180 hours, and you can see you see the signal there for some of these deeper lows to start being off our coastline here, but you don't see any organization to that. So as a meteorologist or anybody doing any weather forecast, this is what your mind should look like. It's like, hey, we're going to get a windstorm next Saturday. This is what your mind looks like here. Probably a powerful low out here, and probably some frontal systems moving through, but are we going to get a big windstorm? That is a much different question. As you can see, some of the ensembles do show some big wind makers off our coastline there, but it's purely fantasy right now. There's no way you could answer that question with any kind of certainty. Now, looking at the GFS, this one is hot off the presses, 12Z run. There's our initial warm system, or at least atmospheric river associated with this cold front passage. And then we get our cold air aloft as we go through the day tomorrow. And again, Monday, Tuesday, probably dry days. You can see Wednesday, a little bit of precipitation tries to make its way back in, some clouds coming over the area. Then another frontal system as we go through probably Wednesday night or Thursday. And what does the GFS have in store? You can see the deep low is out here, but that's not close enough to make for strong winds here across much of the region. Fairly robust frontal system here through next weekend. And then again, some low pressure systems trying to make close passes here. So yeah, you can see we have some great uncertainty through our extended forecast. Looking at the European Artificial Intelligence 15-day precipitation anomaly, you can kind of see it's including BC and Washington, kind of that cutoff right there across northwest portions of Oregon, and below normal totals across California. But again, you take that with a grain of salt. Here's the 6 to 10 day Climate Prediction Center. Look at that, above average across center portions, near normal, some portions of the Pacific Northwest. But that above normal signal is probably going to be with us. As you saw, the storm track is somewhat pointed at the Pacific Northwest, December 14th through 20th. Still that above average signal there as well. So anyway, I'm going to try to get this video out here because the frontal system is now draped over portions of western Washington, and we're getting that freezing rain east of the mountains. Winter storm warnings up tonight, winter weather advisories as well. And a lot of that snow is going to be falling tomorrow morning. And the freezing rain is still ongoing this morning. So if you can put off travel till Monday or, Monday afternoon, you're going to be much better off for it. But otherwise, what else? We'll continue to watch the extended forecast as well. We'll break it down day by day. We'll try to get some consistency what is coming into the in the future. And I hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.